All right, all right. Trade recap 610. Today was a bit it was a break even day for me, at least, but I wanted to take note of today as why sometimes when you have a biased, you can actually, or not can, but sometimes when you have an original biased, you don't always have to, trade that original bias. Sometimes you can trade the opposite of your bias, but still have that bias and be correct. That sounded so confusing. But what I meant by that is like you can have your high time frame biased, but sometimes intraday, right? You could be looking for a setup, and your setup presents itself, but it's in the opposite direction towards like a key level. And I'm gonna be going over that today. So to start off on NQ, I have prior day high and prior day low marked out. Oh wait, let me go back to the replay mode so you guys can see what I mean. So 6:15 a.m. Okay, yeah, right here. So I had prior day high up here and prior day low marked out. The reason why I didn't have anything else is because this prior day high and prior day low range was just so big that I was only expecting price to hit one or the other of these. I didn't expect it to go any further anyways. So yeah, I just had prior day high and prior day low. So going into the day already, looking based on just the 4 hour and the 1 hour, or in the one day, I was already bearish, right? For one, like this move right here, we just changed structure already, so we're already moving towards the downside, towards who knows what low. But obviously you can see there's already a shift in direction. Earlier over here, we were still going up, but now we're kind of just slowly trending down. Another thing is we are disrespecting all these bullish gaps on this side. Disrespecting these bullish gaps with this crazy just 4 hour candle right here. Another reason why I was bearish was because, one, this wasn't really a significant point for us to be reversing off of, as well as I didn't want to go long because we just had these resting liquidity right here that I wanted to see get taken out and then go lower. But here's the issue when it came to my bias, right? So looking to going to the day, I didn't want to go long just because I anticipated for price to trade up into this, taking this, acting as liquidity right here, right, and then going down. Essentially this did play out, but during the day, like on the lower time frames, price was just setting up for an obvious long setup right down here all the way to here. And honestly, like, I just traded against my bias, but it wasn't like a forced trade. I'm not even trying to like, what is it? Make up for the loss or break even it took. I'm just saying like the setup did present itself, and sometimes I do, or you can take trades that kind of go against the higher time frame. Like this could just be a short term liquidity grab higher before essentially going lower. So again, based on the 4 hour chart, we had priority high, priority low, and then I had a 4 hour fair value gap marked out right here, right? Those are the only key levels that I wanted price to trade back up into and then go lower. On the 1 hour, we had one right here, and I just marked that out. But if we had a 4 hour right here, we technically don't really need to tap into this 1 hour just because 4 hour is on the higher time frame anyways. So as long as we have a higher one right here, we should be fine. And yeah, like honestly, all this stack liquidity right here was just an easy target to go up into, right? But I if I was long today, I should have longed, I guess. But since I had an overall bias of like the higher time frame, I just essentially didn't look for any longs until I'll show you over here. But yeah, I honestly was just waiting for the bigger move down, which happened later in the day. I was looking for like this kind of move, but PA was just so slow that maybe I did just force it along there, but we'll see. So yeah, now I'm just sitting on the 5 minute chart. I'm anticipating all this to get ran, right? So as I'm waiting on the 5 minute chart, I'm just waiting, and see this big move right here, right? Even if I was long, I wouldn't have been able to get an entry down here anyways, just because there was no open fair value gap that I could have taken, right? That's why I didn't go long either. Even though I knew it was gonna go long, I didn't find an entry long. Like, not on any of the time frames 1 to 4. There was no open fair value gap. The only time frame that there was a fair value gap was on the fucking 30-second chart, bro. And I'm not looking at the 30-second chart. You know, that's too crazy. 30-second right here, and it was a tiny one too, right? Like, if you're not already looking at the 30-second, or like you're used to trading the 30-second, there's no way you're gonna catch this. But yeah, that was the only time frame that they had it on, and essentially, if it's not on the 1 to 5, I'm not really taking it, right? So I knew it was gonna go up. I knew it was gonna go higher. I just never got an entry. And then what ended up playing out was this trade right here. So we tapped you lower, and I saw this as generated liquidity. Like, if we're gonna go all the way up to here, essentially, I think that, you know, we're gonna eventually just tap this range high. Like, we're not just gonna stop right here, right? So at this point, I'm just looking to see if we can find an entry. And then I think on the 2-minute, I saw this fair value gap. Yeah, on this 2-minute IFAG. I'm gonna say, first of all, this trade was kind of, I wouldn't say an A+. I would rate this as a B at most, right? The reason why I say it's a B is because, one, look how many candles it took for the fair value gap to inverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It took 7 candles for it to inverse. And the target was up here. The reason why I was targeting up here, honestly, was because if I target right here, my risk reward was just so cooked. And I can see where I kind of did wrong in this trade, essentially, because I should have targeted right here. And if I should have targeted right here, I shouldn't have even taken this trade, because honestly, the risk reward would not have made sense for me, and I shouldn't have even taken this long. But the setup was there, right? The entry criteria was there. We get an inverse, we get a key level tap, as well as an inverse. It was just like the DOL was there, and if I had entered down here, it would have made more sense. But it was my fault for targeting these highs, even though like this 4-hour fair value gap was you know, the objective of this move. So yeah, the 2-minute inverses, and then right when price taps into the 4-hour fair value gap, I think right here, it tapped into it, and I took profits there, and I moved my stops to right here, right? So it's not break even per se, just because break even was right here, and it was already so close to the my TP area that I honestly just de-risk, you know, instead of moving my stop loss. So I'm already in profit. I took one contract up here. Now I'm just holding one to see if we can hit this 1-hour fair value gap up here, right? And what happens was, I think we don't even eventually hit it, and I just get stopped out. Yeah, I had hope it went up, but honestly, like, price action was just terrible. I moved my stop, and I got stopped out at 7:44. And I think I alerted it on the Discord as well that out here 7:45, all out there. Like, honestly, break even day for me. Didn't make any, didn't lose any, so I'm not too worried about that. But I will say, the execution wise, I could have done better, in a sense of, like, I had my original bias going into the day was bearish, and I should have just waited for the bearish setup to play out. But honestly, good thing that I took this one. I just ended up for the day, because if I just sat here waiting all day, I would have been cooked anyways, because I don't think a bearish setup even happened. So after this, I'm still watching on the higher time frames, right? After this, so I'm assuming, okay, now that we're going downwards, what key level should I be looking for price to go into? So there was no other key levels except for this 15-minute gap right here, right? You see this 15-minute gap that was created, right? That's why I marked it as a line. So that 15-minute gap was a key level at minimum where I wanted price to go down to, right? Because 15-minute is still considered a higher time frame key level, just on the smaller end, right? If it was a 1-hour, 4-hour, then that would have been okay too, but 15 technically still counts as a higher time frame key level. And on this move down, we don't have any other key levels except for that 15-minute. So that's the only one that I'm supposed to be able to mark out. Look, up here, there was no open fair value gaps, no area where price could potentially trade back into. So yeah, that was the only key level that I was waiting for price to tap into before I could take my original thesis short. If you look at the Discord, I said my original bias is playing out. We'll be looking for entries here last trade of the day at 757. Yeah, around right here. So it's going down. I just wanted to just go back up, right? I saw the mark in the arrow at 8:50. Want something like this to happen, but it's already 9 a.m. Don't want to be forcing anything here. Yeah, right here. I wanted price to go back up, tap into this 15, and then I would have been looking for a short down. But as you can see, it just doesn't happen, you know. And at this point, I'm already done for the day. I'm not forcing anything. This choppy price action, CPI day, low probability, and it was just honestly not worth putting risk on. Yeah, I was already break even for the day, so there's no point in trying to force a trade in low probable conditions, right? And the rest of the time is just chopped. And as you can see, it kind of does eventually just go all the way down, but what time is this? Yeah, 4:20 p.m. Like, it eventually just went down, but look how poor this delivery is, right? Like, it didn't tap into a higher time fee level like I wanted to, and then, you know, it just went down without me. So 1-0 for the day, but honestly, the execution wasn't too terrible. I didn't break any rules, so should be good with me. Also, another thing I want to note that when you're starting out just learning how to enter and exit and all that and have your bias or thesis ready, don't ever trade against it. You know, when you have a thesis played out, like, you just want to see it follow through, just so you get practice under your belt, so you kind of see where the price is kind of going towards, so you can have like a gauge, you know, like, oh, it did play out today, instead of like having, you know, just have your plan and then just trade your plan. That's it. Keep it simple. Yeah, going into tomorrow, I am honestly still bearish, to be honest. Like, it looks still pretty bearish to me until this Friday low. We are tapping into this 1 hour like volume imbalance kind of thing. We are inside a weekly fair value gap, so if we reject, we should reject here. But if we inverse his weekly gap, oh man, you could be going all the way down here. But yeah, for now, I'm still bearish. Tomorrow should bring us better price action, no CPI, and hopefully we'll catch another banger. All right, catch you guys tomorrow.